Mr. Alcozer, you might want to get on screen while I'm getting that to happen. Okay. All right, we are live, and I think everybody can hear everybody else. And I'm just going to call the cases forward. We have two pending matters. One is a August 23rd, failure to obtain a permit, September 12th, failure to obtain a permit. And Mr. Alcozer, representing the defendant, has filed a motion that is in the line of, a pre-matter. So I did read the order and the request from you, Mr. Alcozer, and good afternoon or good morning. How are you?
Hi, Judge.
How are you today? How are you today?
I'm good, Judge. Thank you. Your Honor, the volume seems to be, I was hearing you just fine a moment ago.
Okay.
Oh, now it's good.
It might be that I need to be louder. Mr. Matson, how are you today?
I'm doing well, Your Honor. How are you?
Thank you. I'm fine. I received a response to the motion that you filed, and I think you sent to Mr. Alcozer. It's just been earlier this morning, and I did have an opportunity to look at both. Mr. Alcozer, it is your original motion. Did you have an opportunity to look at the response to your motion?
Judge, was that filed this morning?
Yeah, I think it was, because I didn't receive it till probably half an hour ago.
Okay. Yeah, I was in district court this morning and I just walked in my office like 5 minutes ago.
Mhm.
So, Judge, I have not seen it yet.
Okay. Do you want to take a few moments or?
Yeah, I can look here. Mr. Matson, did you send that to me via email?
Yes, sir. To the litigation at mbaattorneys.com.
Oh, okay. Let me have someone forward that to me. Judge, can you give me about 5 seconds? Let me holler out in the hallway.
I can give you
Okay.
some minutes.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah.
Hey, Tanya.
Man, it is cold in my house. I'm shaking over here.
Are you really? Get a jacket. You
Well,
have a
part of the
fan.
problem was I was outside with my dogs because Sunny still needs to have her handheld to go outside.
Judge, she's going to email that to me and she's going to print it really quick. The paralegal that was sent to, she's actually out till tomorrow.
Okay.
But I'll give it a quick gander and we can move forward.
Okay, take a moment. It's fine.
Okay.
Yeah, we don't have a bunch of things backed up. It's just this case.
Okay, all right. Mr. Matson, good to meet you. I just spoke to you on the phone. I hadn't met you in person.
You too, Mr. Alcozer.
Judge, how are you doing?
Well, I'm well. Things are good. Miss LeBoy is on the meeting. She's our staff member. She's actually sitting right here,
Okay.
but I have her in just so that people realize that there's a clerk. So,
Right, okay.
but I never have conducted them remotely because there's too much paper.
Oh, I see.
Yeah, it doesn't make sense. So I just, even through the pandemic, we just drove in and did our hearings.
Right. You know, Judge, I was in district court, but I could have just rushed over to your court. I don't mind appearing in person. That's not a problem with me.
We didn't set it in person because
Okay.
well, people are used to this format. And, my position is that if it's working, we use it. And if it's not working, we just come on in. So,
Right.
there's no reason to have to come and drive and wait and be in line and have congested courtrooms unless we need to. And then
Right.
there are times we have people like tomorrow, we have settings of all just people that this is just not going to work for them either because they don't want to or they can't we don't know until they get here and then we
Right.
Some people they don't want to deal with it and some people cannot do it and some people, the thing I like about Zoom is you can call in on a phone. You can just call in.
Right.
A little harder to do that, because we don't have eyes on one another, and that's not as effective in terms of communicating. But if a contested matter isn't going well on the phone, we have a default to come on in. If it's uncontested and we can sort it out, we just, why inconvenience people? So I feel like, I hope they let it stay.
Mhm.
We had several requests. You know, I'm on the judicial council, and we had several pushes for that from various teams, and it was just defeated. It was, I don't know where the opposition really was on that, because I think the lawyers like it, and I think many judges seem to like it. But I don't know. I think the legislature itself, it just didn't get traction.
Right.
I think there's this sense that maybe somehow it makes it less somehow. But I think, you know, I think you got to pull out, trying to have a jury trial on the TV. I don't think that's going to work. And they do.
I haven't done that yet. I have one set in Travis County in the spring, but I haven't done a virtual trial yet.
I'm not going to do it that way, but I have allowed witnesses to appear that way who are out of state. You know, in a Class C court, a defendant who has a lawyer doesn't have to be in court. So, I mean, you know, there's.
Right.
I just think there's a less intense requirement there, but there's still a confrontation clause, and I like people to at least look at one another.
Right. Right. You know, Judge, she hasn't sent it to me yet. Mr. Matson, are you at your computer where you can just forward it to me right quick?
I can.
Yeah, I'm sure he would have sent it. He probably was using, I think it's the email that we use, but.
What's the email, Mr. Alcazar?
Yeah, my first initial M, and then last name ALCOZER at MBA, like Michael Boy Apple, followed by attorneys, plural, ATTORNEYS.com. So you're going to have two A's back to back, M Alcozer at MBAattorneys.com.
I believe it should be in your inbox here in a sec.
Okay,
It's not long. I read it a few minutes ago.
I've got it.
I'll give you a few minutes. Please just be quiet.
Thank you, Judge.
While he's reading that, Judge, I'm going to grab a jacket.
Works for me. But I have no idea when you get paid or not. I didn't get paid.
Yes, thank you. Okay, Judge.
Okay. Give me 1 second. Okay. Okay, so we'll take this cause and Mr. Officer, in your motion, I mean, there are, there are tests. I think the tests pointed out by the state are valid, the valid tests. We really have 3 accusations: 7-11, 823, and 912. 7-11 was the one paid for. I think he paid, and it's not before the court at this time, but I mean, I can understand it being confusing for the client, but he paid and then he got another notice and he's trying to figure out, why am I getting another notice? But if the witness for the prosecution thinks that it's an ongoing thing, or I think that the element changes, which is the due date, or I'm sorry, the accusation date.
Right.
So, I mean, and I do think, as a matter of fact, from what I've seen from that department, they send a letter out that says, each day or period of days, meaning it's not a 24-hour day. But if at 3 o'clock it's something and the next morning at 9, that's another day, even though maybe it's not even 24 hours, which I don't think is this case, but I've seen that happen. Every day is an offense. Now, not every minute of every day is an offense.
Understood.
And they appear from these dates to be going by about every 2 weeks or month, something along, maybe it looks like anywhere from 2 to 6 weeks, but so I was it took me a while to figure out what you were urging, because I couldn't sort it out, but
Right.
is there anything that you would add in?
Yeah, Judge, let me tell you the analysis in my mind as to what occurred here. My client had constructed added something to his house. It started out with a roof that was damaged. Roof was leaking. He could not get it repaired. He tried to get a permit. Couldn't get a permit. Occurred during the pandemic. Couldn't get a permit. Of course, he's not computer savvy, so he couldn't get a permit. And because of the work he does, he understands the permit situation. So he went ahead and decided to not only fix his roof, but he added some square footage to his house. Okay. And this occurred quite some time ago. And then, of course, the city was made aware that this had happened, or they found out themselves that this had happened. So they issued a citation to him. Of course, construction's already done. He committed the violation, so he went in there and paid it. So he was told, I said, well, wait a minute, you can't, you got to go get a permit, but he can't get a permit for something that he's already completed.
Yes, he can.
Well, he's been to the permit office, and that's why I had requested in my motion for discovery, had requested some documents, and I've also sent him open records request to the city of Temple, because he's gone to the permit office, and they said, well, we can't give you a permit because you've already done construction. So he's in 2 situations. So the citation that he paid, in my mind, he was charged with the offense. He was punished with the offense. He paid the fine, but he can't do anything else about it at this point, because he's not able to get a permit. So he'll never be able to get a permit. So he's gonna be cited in perpetuity.
Well, I don't know about that. I mean, here's the thing that I know, I'm gonna let the state respond, but by that argument, if I have a fire code violation, I never have to fix it because you didn't catch me while I was creating it. So people can burn. I mean, by that argument. So I don't really see that argument.
Yeah, he can't,
If it's something that can't be permitted because it was never gonna be able to be permitted, then he can't get a permit, but I'm not convinced that that's what's happening here. I don't know the case.
right,
And,
right,
and,
Judge.
and in that case, because that's not what your motion says. Your
No,
motion-
no, it's not what, it's
your
not what my
motion
motion
is
says.
different. Your
Yeah.
motion is different. So your motion says, you know, once you commit a violation, you can't be cited for it again. But what I'm hearing you say now is you're saying that because he can't get it permitted, he gets to keep it as is. And I don't.
Well, no, Judge, what my motion says is that he committed a violation. He was punished, he paid the fine, and he can't come back and be charged with the same violation again, arising out of the same facts. That's what my motion says. And he,
So they aren't, yes, he can though. Just what you're saying though, that's not correct statement of the law. It's a different day. So you can have an ongoing violation.
right, right.
But
But yes, and I could have included the, an affidavit from him about, that he's been to the permit office, been to the permit office more than once, and they won't give him one. So I felt compelled to urge this motion because he's never going to be able to comply. So he goes and pays, let's say he pays these 2 fines. He's not going to be able to comply. He's going to get charged
yeah, I
again.
don't know. That's a fact issue, but we'd have to get the witnesses in on that.
Right, yeah. And I talked to when I first got called about this.
It was the dates were different and, that it on its face was somehow defective. And I would say, no, it's not. I'm not going to dismiss it as a double jeopardy issue. At this time, I mean, you're going to need to develop some facts.
Okay, I understood. Understood.
So I'm going to deny it as to what's been urged at this point. I'm not going to reopen it, but if y'all do discovery and more needs to be looked at in this kind of non-trial kind of way, then that needs to get filed as a separate motion, because
Yes, ma'am.
what you're talking about is a development of things that you are purporting to be factual, and I'm not saying they're not. I just think that if that's where we're going, the state has the right to look into it and see what their response would be to that as well.
Right.
But what I got was a request that seemed to me like just confusion. I don't think it's like a parked car. If you park a car downtown tonight and it's in violation and you get a ticket, that doesn't mean that tomorrow they're not going to put another ticket on that car.
Right. But
Probably going to.
Sure. Of course, under that analysis, that if I pay the fine for doing that, and then somebody, the city blocks me in and I can't move my car, then I'll never be able to move the car.
Yeah, well, you'll have to prove that that's what's happening.
Right. Yes. Right.
'Cause,
And I can visit with town.
You said this was during the pandemic when no permits were required, and I don't know.
Sure. Yes, Judge. That's a separate issue. I was just.
I personally had to get permits to do work on my house during the pandemic, and I had to get them. So I know they were issuing them, so I don't really know the answer to when that happened and what happened for your guy. I don't know, and it's not the same situation. It's a different thing, but I do know that if it's work that wouldn't have ever been permitted, they're not going to now give you a permit for it. They're going to say you have to tear it down.
Right. Yeah, that's a whole separate matter.
It definitely is. So I don't really know what we're looking at. I just know that we have different dates.
Right.
And if it's a violation today, it's a violation tomorrow, and it's a violation till it's not one. And if it can't be permitted, then it's not ever going to be brought into conformity. And that's not being locked in. That's just staying in the parking space and refusing to leave. So I don't know which it is. I really don't. I'll do your discovery and we'll see if we need to come back.
Okay.
Okay. All right.
Sounds good. Thank you, Judge.